Yeah.
Good evening, everybody's. Apologies for the hitch and the glitch. As I was saying, there were around 4,500 participants yesterday, but there were certain technical issues. That is why we had to create this relink and again get yourself re-registered. Apologies for that. And at the best, let me also first thank Mr. Shiv Khera to be so kind enough to take out time and be with us for today. This is the 17th webinar which we are doing. In the last 16th webinar, there were around 20,000 registrations, where around 10,000 had participated. We had quite a lot of eminent speakers, but today it's really a proud moment for HRFI to have Mr. Shiv Khera with us. So today's webinar is co-powered by B Catalyst and People HRMS. And to tell you just briefly about HRFI, who are the participants who have joined outside HRFI also, which I understand quite a few of you all are there. It's a WhatsApp group basically of 14,000 plus with LinkedIn participants of around 10,000 plus. We are there for around more than 4 or 5 years and have been doing quite a lot of things for the HR community. That is what. So I also take this honor to introduce yourselves, the moderator for today's program, my friend Shahil Nair, who is the Senior Associate Director HR KPMG. Now about Mr. Shiv Khera, I think anything said will be very less. During our younger days, from then we have been hearing about him. We have been reading about him, read quite a lot of books about him. We have been fortunate enough to hear him also. I think the purpose what we are here for, and we are anxiously waiting to hear from him. It is better for me to hand over to Shahil, the moderator, and to take in Mr. Shiv Khera. Once again, thanks, Mr. Khera. And over to you, Shahil, for the evening.
All right. Thanks so much, Sumit. Am I audible?
Thank you.
Yes.
Fantastic. Shiv, are you on? Can we just hear you once?
You are coming in and out,
faint,
cutting off somewhere. You are in and out on your audio.
Shiv?
Yeah.
You're on, right? Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, lovely. Let's get started. So very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like the topic suggests, right? Turning setbacks into comebacks. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking to Shiv and thinking of what best can we bring to you. Many of us have actually grown up reading Shiv's books, getting inspired, more like self-help books. I remember vividly, You Can Win was something that was something very, very, very close to my heart. Every time I had a setback, I would read one of those punchlines from You Can Win, and that was a great comeback. So Shiv, it's an absolute honor for you to be with us here today. The pre-conversation that we had with Shiv, a couple of days back, was to really explore how do we bring the genesis of today's current times with each one of you. We were actually thinking, what format do we do? What design do we do? Shiv is a fantastic speaker. No one wants to eat into his space. He goes 90 minutes nonstop. And believe you me, those 90 minutes just fly by. So we didn't want to really make it a monologue because we know many of y'all will have a lot of questions. In the last 16 HRFI learning sessions, each one of you have heard brilliant speakers come and talk to all of us about COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, what is changing, what's not changing, Let's really crystal ball gaze into the future, so on and so forth. So we said, let's just get the juice of all of that and get you a session that really talks about, fine, we all go through setbacks, but what can be the strategy for a comeback? What can be those innovative aspects which are constants that you can play around, that you can build as skills to really get a comeback? And therefore, what we're going to do is, in terms of design, we're going to very quickly get your thoughts, do a quick engagement session in the first 10 minutes. If you have any questions up front or any expectations that you want to use the chat pod and quickly share your thoughts, your introduction in terms of a question that you have for Shiv, let's bring that up right up. And then Shiv goes nonstop for 90 minutes. He has a lot to share with us, very, very insightful stuff. So we're going to hear him out. And then hopefully towards the end, if there are any more questions, we'll be happy to take them. So a request to all members, the chat pod is open. Feel free to use the chat pod to put in your questions that you have upfront or expectations from the session. And while you get at that, Shiv, my first question to you. The topic is just so apt, right? Would you like to share with us a little bit of setbacks that you might have had in your own life? And while the session will take us through the whole climax of the comebacks, but we'll keep the comebacks aside for now. But tell us a little bit about you. We've seen you from a distance. We've read your books. But who is Shiv Khera? What are his challenges? What are the setbacks that he has had in his life so far? So let's start with that, Shiv.
Okay, Sahil, first of all, I would like to thank you and all your entire team to have invited me and feel I'm worthy of coming in front of you professionals here. But let me share the reason why we picked this topic as turned setbacks into comebacks. I've had 3 major setbacks in my life. And first of all, I must make a disclaimer. I don't know of anybody in this world who has all the answers. Certainly I don't. My academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. Now I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the government nationalized them. The government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. We were left with the liabilities, the assets were gone. My father had died when I was in college, and I was married just 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. So I've gone through those days. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, started washing cars door to door. And gradually, I got into selling vacuum cleaners in the evening and washing cars during the daytime. And totally by accident, I went into selling life insurance, where I had a very rough start, and I was almost on the verge of being fired. And there were some turning points, which is what I will share today. What were my turning points? What made me come back in my life? And I moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients. So that is, in a nutshell, what my life story has been. And I will share with you as we go along, what were the things that made me come back. So I'll come back later. So go ahead with the next question.
Sure. Thanks, Shiv. So obviously, everyone has different set of challenges, different economic strata. We've seen a lot for the migrant workers. We've seen people distinguishing between the whole interplay of lockdown 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the unlock, and the whole concept around saying life, livelihood, and lifestyle. Each one of us pre-COVID lived a certain lifestyle. And today, we've really come down to living life. What's your thought? How does the interplay happen? How does the balance happen? Post-COVID, are we just going to go back to the lifestyle we had? Are we going to take some learnings? What's your perspective?
First of all, I want to just set the ball rolling and set the foundation right. See, what has happened is the challenges that we are facing. The COVID virus has gone from one city to another and covered the whole world. One. Two, overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, medical equipment, orders getting canceled all over the world. Factories are closing, unemployment going up, death rate going up. This literally has shaken up the entire world. That's one. Now, which has led to a lot of unpredictability. Nobody can predict when is there a finish line or not. And uncertainty has crept in. With the result, people are feeling very insecure. And that insecurity has led to a lot of stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and many people are feeling very angry also. Now, stress, in my opinion, is both natural and normal. Anybody who says, I don't have stress, belongs into the lunatic asylum. Now, important thing is, all stress is not bad. I repeat, all stress is not bad. Actually, it is stress that makes us perform. Now, I'll just share with you one little example. The athlete who competes at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not under stress, would he be able to be performing? Absolutely not. Now, I'll just, one important line is, I'm sure most of us have seen the thoroughbreds at the race course. Have you seen the thoroughbreds before they get into the cabin? They're all jumping up and down like this. They're all jumping. You know why? They're under very heavy stress. Now, somehow they are put into the cabin, and the moment the bell rings and the door opens, what do? They shoot. They immediately shoot. Now, that's a thoroughbred. Okay. But you take a jackass to the race course. The jackass is so cool, man. He is just walking so cool, relaxed. But then that's a jackass. He never performs as a thoroughbred. Just one major point here is that stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Very crucial. Sahil, are you with me?
Absolutely, Shiv.
Now, wait a minute. What is the next part? See, all of us are equipped to handle stress. Everybody can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. I repeat. You see, when stress becomes chronic, that is the time it breaks us down. You see, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances, how come? Okay, now comes the question, as you asked me, the three things: life, livelihood, lifestyle. Now, how is the crisis impacted us three ways? First one is life. First of all, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. One. Number two, what we do, where we go, who we meet, could be a life and death decision. I repeat, what we do, where we go, who we meet, could be a matter of life and death.
Death, yeah.
Okay, that is as far as the life is concerned. Now, let's talk of livelihood. Everybody has lost it. Individuals, organizations, even governments are going broke because they're not collecting any taxes. Governments are getting bankrupt too. Now, important thing is, Sahil, how is it impacting us, in what manner, and how severe? For that, we are divided into three categories of people. One is the super rich, super rich. Second is mediocre, and third is the poor. I'm going to start with the poor. They are the worst hit. They are the ones who are daily wage earners, hourly earners. They go out and work in the morning, eat in the evening, work in the daytime, eat in the evening. They are the worst hit. Now, that's one part. Two, the super rich. Super rich, look at this. Apple Computers has $200 billion in reserve. $200 billion. Obviously, they don't have a liquidity problem. They don't have a cash flow problem. Same thing, I would be totally surprised if people like the Tatas, the Birlas, the Adanis, Ambanis have a cash flow problem. I will be totally surprised. They have enough liquidity behind, so they don't have a problem either. Now, who are the people who have a problem? Guys, the mediocre people like possibly me and many others out there. Now, mediocre people are rethinking here. And the rethink comes in is they have, because of the income getting stopped, now they're thinking of active and passive income. Now, what is the difference between active? I go out work, I get money. I go out work, get money. I go out work, I get money. The day I don't go out work, I don't get any money. This is called active income. Now people have realized that, buddy, in life, we need to have passive income. We must have passive income in life. Okay, that's one. Number two is, we had a pension tax consulting firm in the US. And as part of our planning for our clients, we used to always tell them, you must have one liquid cash. 1 year of your income should be in liquid cash. It is called emergency fund or opportunity fund. Why is that? Because where you should be able to access that money within less than 24 hours. Why is that? Because emergencies and accidents never warn you in advance. They come automatically. That's why they're called accidents. Therefore, you must have access to 1 year of your income as part of your emergency fund. Now, if we don't have it, it's a little too late. But going forward, people need to understand that we must maintain that fund. Now, coming to the next side of it, how is it the livelihood being impacted currently and into future? I had a banker come over to my place the other day, because that is part of the essential services. So I asked him, I said, tell me, with what efficiency level of your staff are you working? And he said, sir, we're working with 30% staff. 30% staff we are working right now. I said, has your efficiency gone down to 30% also? And their answer was, no, we are working at 60% and we're shooting to come to 80 and 90% efficiency with 30% staff. I said, how's that? He said, because there were many, many people who were doing physical banking. We are putting them on digital platform. Many senior citizens, they were all on manual banking. We are putting all those people on digital platform. And therefore, because of that, we have been able to achieve 70, 80%, and we're shooting for 90% efficiency with 30% staff. Now, Sahil, I asked him this one question. Does that mean that your 50% staff that you don't have right now, they were redundant before, or they will become redundant after the crisis is over? He said it is too soon to think about that, but yes, that could happen. Now, there is something very interesting this man mentioned, which I do cover in my leadership programs. He said, every organization has four kinds of people. One is the superstar. Superstars are those who are proactive. You see, you don't have to tell them what to do. In fact, they come forward and they are future forward thinking, and they take pride in their performance. And when they do a job, you know it is done well. And if they say it is done, it is done. And if you go check it out, it is done. They tell the truth. They are people with integrity. I repeat, they are people with integrity. They tell the truth and you can trust them. And they are asset in your organization. They are assets. They are called superstars. And there are very few in every organization. Very few. Now, that is one category. There's a second category of people are the doers. You tell them to do it. You tell them to do it. You tell them to do it. You don't tell them they don't do it. And many times, even when we tell them they don't do it, but you got to go check it out, and to slip away and to hide many times what their faults are, they can lie once in a while. They do lie once in a while. But they are the doers. If you tell them, they do it. But you got to check it out. And the third category of people is the talkers. They talk more, do less. You see, there are people who are not really motivated. They only do what they can get by with. I repeat, they only do what they can get by with. They only do enough that you have no reason to fire them, but they are really not motivated. And they want to get away by talking and doing as little as possible. And they don't mind telling lies. because they don't do the job right. One is superstars, second is doers, third is talkers, and fourth category of people in an organization are troublemakers. Troublemakers. So he said, we need to make sure we get rid of the talkers and the troublemakers. And I've created 3 companies in the US and sold my companies. I've learned one thing in my life. It is better not to have a person than to have a wrong person working in your company. I repeat, it is better not to have a person than to have a wrong person working in your company. True? Are you with me? Do you agree with that? Okay. Now, Sahil, this is where we're coming from. Now, the next part is, I said 70% of your people are working from home. You're paying them a salary. So now my question is, are they earning the full salary? Are they earning the full salary? Are they giving you the full output, justifying the salary? And his answer was, Mr. Khera, everywhere the 80-20 rule applies, 80-20 rule. And that is, the 20% people are responsible people. They can work without supervision. 20% work without supervision. The 80% people still need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision. Now, I was listening to Narayan Murthy the other day, and Narayan Murthy said that people working out of home, because IT industry is one where many people are working from home, off-site. And he said, we must have measurable levels for people working from home. Otherwise, how do you compensate them? And same thing, we need to have measurable levels of output at work, unless you tied the compensation to performance. Okay, now that is the question of livelihood. Now here is very important thing is, and Sahil, that is that people have got a rethinking here that bottom line is more important than top line. I repeat, people have started thinking bottom line is much more important than top line. Nobody gives a damn what your top line is. People are looking at what is my bottom line, and that is the key. Okay. Now, I'll come to the lifestyle in between further later, but let me address the third thing is lifestyle. Now, folks, look at this. Till the lockdown came, all of us, we were all running in the fast lane. Everybody was on the fast lane. We were running. We did not know where the hell we were going, but we were going somewhere. We were all going, and we had no time even to stop and think. Amount of time-saving devices we had till now, today, we have never had that many time-saving devices. Yet, we did not have what? We did not have time. Yeah. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not preaching here. I'm guilty myself. I messed up my own priorities many times. So we messed up our priorities. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. See, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and I cannot exercise, it is not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. See, in life, relationships are important, but they are not urgent. But if I ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking to your lawyers. See, funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. You ask people, and you know what this crisis has done? It has literally stopped people, step backwards and say, buddy, think your priorities. Think your priorities. You are running all right. Did you check which direction are you running? If your direction is not good, you will go further away from your goal in life. Therefore, people have started thinking very important. That is, in life, remember, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, in life, direction is much more important than speed. Now, you ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. And who are the most neglected? Also my family. Look at this. The most important people many times in life become the most neglected, which is sad, isn't it? And I'm guilty myself. So people have now stepped back and say, buddy, wait a minute. The most important people cannot become the most neglected. We need to check. Direction in life is much more important than speed. And second part of lifestyle is people have started rethink about discretionary spending and non-discretionary spending, which is food and medicine. You have to spend, no question. But people have thinking about it that, look, it is better to have money in the bank than have 35 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than buy a car $100,000. They have come backwards and said, wait a minute, we need to rethink. Okay, now, with that in mind, you see, Sahil, there are only two examples in known history where a similar crisis has come, and how did we overcome them? How did we overcome? One was the Spanish flu, and the second was the Great Depression. Spanish flu came in 1918, and it came initially, and it went away. People said when it went away, the danger is over, and everybody got the guard down. And now the interesting thing was, 6 months later, the Spanish flu came back again, and it hit so bad that 50 to 70 million people died. 50 to 70 million people, 18 million people in India died. But when did they die more? In the second phase. First phase, it was not that bad. Why am I bringing this up? Because when the lockdown is over right now, and people are saying the danger is over, answer is danger is not over. Even South Korea, Singapore, it is coming at the second phase, and the second phase is deadly. Therefore, don't get your guards down, and that is crucial. Now, with that in mind, the second part of comparison that we have is the Great Depression of 1929. In the Great Depression, the Wall Street crashed. There was total panic. Then all the banks failed in the US. Savings were wiped out. $100 became $15. I repeat, 85% of the value of the dollar got lost, 85%. And 15 million people got unemployed. 15 million people. Now, 15 million then 100 years ago is equivalent to 60 million today, because the population in the US was 120 million at that time, and today it is 330 million. So with the result, see, right now, I checked up only 4 days ago, in the US, close to 45 million people are on the unemployment payroll. 45 million, only US. And more is happening. Now, this is crucial. Sahil, what is the silver lining? Stay with me, my friend, stay with me. What is a silver lining? Hear this carefully. Experience has shown all over the world, whenever unemployment has gone up, self-employment has always gone up. I repeat, whenever unemployment has gone up, self-employment has always
gone up.
Gone up. Now, here is what happened. During that crisis in 1929, in the Great Depression, everybody was in deep trouble. Risk-taking ability was not there. People had no money. Everybody was wiped out. But some of the people created businesses at that time, today, who have become household name today. And they did not have any technology. They were not innovative, and they were not educated people. They had no degrees. They had no money, no risk-taking ability. But what they had was they were positive people, and they were called positive entrepreneurs or survivalist entrepreneurs. And they were solution focused. Here is the difference. There are some people in this world who are problem focused. You know what that means? It means you give them a solution, they will give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. But these people were solution focused. And I'll share with you only 3 examples what they did and who they were. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, in an abandoned place, he started an outlet for non-perishable durable goods. Now, why non-perishable and why durable? If they were perishable and if they were not selling, he would lose money if they perished. And 2, why durable goods? Is if he was not able to sell, at least he and his family could use. Therefore, he started that way. And today in the US, this man owns 1,000 stores. His turnover is $30 billion. And he's worth $6 billion. And the store's name is Publix Supermarket. Go check it out. Publix Supermarket. This is how they started. Now, the second example I share with you is there were 2 brothers, Gallo brothers, in California. They were also suffering in the same manner on the street. So they picked up some grapes and they started crushing them and started making wine out of it. But nobody would buy it. Eventually, they started selling the wine 50% below market, 50% below market. That is how they started. But today, the Gallo Winery is one of the largest wineries in the United States. They account for 25% of the wine business in the US, and they are worth about $8 billion. And the third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a small patch of land in Idaho. He started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he could not sell, the family ate. But what he could not eat started rotting. Now he could not afford that the potatoes rot and it would lose money. So he created a system of freezing the potatoes. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US. His largest customer is McDonald's. He is worth close to $10 to $12 billion. Now, why am I sharing all this with you? And does that mean that you and I, if we go through crisis or if we set up an outlet, you and I will have $10 billion and we will be doing the same thing? No, no, no. That is not the purpose behind it. The purpose is that these people also were on the street. They had no risk-taking ability, no risk-taking. They had no money, no technology, no innovation, no education. But what they had was they were positive people. They were solution-focused people. And today you will find again, there will be many people who are solution-focused and they will come up and they will create history again and again and again. Now, that is where I would say where these people are coming from. Now, Sahil, this crisis is impacting us 3 ways further. One is physically, which is medically. I'm not qualified to talk about it. Medical doctors are good enough to do that, and enough information from WHO is going around. Second is economically, and third is psychologically. Now, economically, let me just touch a little bit, and then I'll come more on the psychological side. The economical side is that people are realizing one thing, that getting earlier the word was globalization, globalization, globalization. Now they're saying, wait a minute, localization, localization, localization. Why localization? See, today there is interdependence. United States is depending on China. We are depending on China. Are you aware that the US, this crisis has really brought some things in the open limelight? Are you aware that US right now is dependent on China on 97% of their pharma supplies? 97%. Did you know that? 97%. And all of a sudden they realize any country can blackmail them tomorrow. Therefore, they said we need to be self-sufficient and independent. Partly that's one. And number two, you need to bring the production closer to the consumption. First of all, why did you take the production so far 1,000 miles away? Because of labor cost. But today with automation and robotics, you don't have the labor costs have become insignificant. So bring them back near the consumption. And that is what is happening right now. And now the third part is the psychological part, which to me is the most important part. Now, psychological part is the emotional part. You see, people who are emotionally strong, they're coming out stronger. This crisis is making them stronger. I repeat, this crisis is making those people stronger. And I'll share with you an example of Nelson Mandela. Mandela was in jail for 27 years. And when he came out and became the president, somebody asked him, Mr. Mandela, how did you survive 27 years? And his answer was, I was not surviving, I was preparing. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. And he said one thing very beautiful. He said, I will not let the crisis define me. He said, I use the crisis to define me. Hear this. He said, I will not let the crisis define me. I use the crisis to define me. How beautifully said. Now, people who are emotionally weak people, they are creating more problems in their families right now. They are fighting more. They're getting on each other's nerves. They're more irritating. And WHO came up with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50%. Domestic violence has gone up by 50%. So what is going on? Okay, now so much for that one. Important thing is, how do we overcome the crisis? Let me share with you 9 steps. If you want to take this down, please do so. What has helped me in my life to overcome crisis and come back again in my life? So I'm going to share with you those things. Step 1. Step 1 is the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. Folks, when I went to US from here, I came across a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. There were about 1,000 people, and Dr. Peale wrote the book, Power of Positive Thinking. And I sat through in the program with close to 1,000 people. And as Dr. Peale came in, he looked at the entire audience and he said, you people appear so calm, cool, comfortable. It seems nobody here has a problem. Then he asked, does anybody have a problem here? So who doesn't have it? So everybody raised their hand. Yeah, we have a problem. Then Dr. Peale said, how many people would like to get rid of their problems? Again, everybody raised their hand. We'd like to get rid of our problems. So then Dr. Peale said, while coming here, 2 blocks away from here, I came across a place where there were some people lying there, all stretched out, totally relaxed. They had no problems. How many people would like to know where that place is? So again, everybody raised their hand. So Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, totally relaxed. They have no problem. How many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in their pocket. Then Dr. Peale said, remember one thing, problem is a sign of life. I repeat, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we will have problems. And the day we don't have problems, we'll be dead. We would be dead. And then Dr. Peel said, when you're running short of problems, there is a time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And folks, that day, he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. And to me, it is the crux of life. In the last 45 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. And I have faced many, many, many difficult situations. And this prayer has helped me enormously. And let me share with you what it is. And I will go slow in case anybody wants to take it down. It goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze this prayer and dissect it, you will find it is the crux of life. It starts from there. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, my question is, can we change everything in this world? Answer is no. Is everything within our control? Answer is no, it is not. Now, there are some things beyond us. Totally. Example, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. And granted, sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? And sometimes people are born deformed. What wrong did they do? Who knows? And how did this virus come? I don't know. It is here. Who created the virus? Nobody knows, but it's here. So the prayer says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. If I cannot change, then let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change. And we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become totally unpredictable. We become unproductive totally. So if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. And two, if I can change, then give me the courage to do it. And three, give me the wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, when I wrote my book, new book, which was launched last year, You Can Achieve More, I took this thought one step further, and I said, life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? See, life is full of choices. Now, this is important. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. I repeat, we are all free to the point of choice, but after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? Folks, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. Remember, sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That is our choice. Now, what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success. And series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's it. Now, many times people ask me, even the press asks me, Mr. Khera, tell me, the people who are successful in life, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who are not successful, or people who are failures in life, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer to them is that successful people in life do make mistakes. But remember one thing, nobody becomes a failure by making a mistake once only. They become a failure by repeating the same mistake again and again and again and again. Are you with me? Sahil, are you with me? And nobody becomes a failure in life by doing something positive once in a while. They become successful only when they repeat the same positive behavior again and again and again and again. And that is the key. Okay, so much for that one. Now, step two. Step two, to overcome this crisis, folks, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. That's it. Limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. Why? Because the news is so negative. It is totally depressing. Have you noticed? There are people who wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they turn the TV on and they check the news and they're looking for what? The score. What is the score? How many infected? How many died? How many infected? How many died? How many infected? How many died? This is the score they check, as if there's a cricket match going on between England and Australia. And they watch this for 1.5 hours. How many infected? How many died? Then they do is they change channels as if the score is going to change. And then they watch that for another hour. Then they watch another channel, another channel, another channel. They watch this from morning till night, 12 hours. And in the evening, the guy says, I'm depressed. Of course you'll be depressed. What the hell are you watching? And in the evening, you watch 12 hours of death and infection, and that's what is happening. And your own immunity goes down. And when your immunity goes down, the chance of catching a viral is much higher. Limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. And that's it. Stop. And most important thing is, get your information from reliable sources. Today, there's a lot of fake news going on. Lot of fake news going on all around. So get your information from reliable sources. Step three. Folks, step three is convert your wasted time to productive time. I repeat, convert your wasted time to productive time. Now, what is wasted time? Before the crisis came in the US, there was a survey conducted which said an average American, Sahil, an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Before the crisis. After the crisis, people are watching 8-10 hours a day. But interestingly, that is the average American watches. So a
lot of people are asking us separately that what is it that you're drinking? People are really interested to know what you're drinking.
Well, maybe I should give the answer after my program.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please, on a lighter note, please go on.
Okay, but important thing is that where was I? They're watching 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Now, a man bought a new TV, and a friend of his came over to see him, and he saw a nice TV, and he asked his friend, "How much did this TV cost you?" He said, "This TV cost me $1,000, $1,000." So man asked, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Let me share with you a calculation. What is your annual income?" He said, "I make $100,000 a day." He said, "Have you ever calculated what is your hourly rate?" Hourly rate. He said, "If I work 2,000 hours a year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour." So he said, "You watch TV 3 hours a day. That is $150 an hour. $150 an hour you're wasting every day. And if you watch TV 365 days a year, multiply that number of hours, 1,000 hours per year. Do you know this TV is costing you $55,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home? Do you see what I'm saying here? This TV is not cost you $1,000 bucks. This TV is costing you $55,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. You know something, folks? Don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV. I enjoy it. You all enjoy it. Watching a movie once in a while is great. It's great relaxing. Watching a nice place, wonderful. But every day watching 3 to 4 hours a day, what the hell are you doing? You are paying those people who are acting in the TV. You're paying for them. And you're wasting productive time into wasted time. Now, what do you do? And don't get me wrong, I'm not here preaching alone. When the lockdown came in, I also, for the first 1 or 2 days, I was watching also TV 8 hours a day. Then I kicked myself. I said, what the hell are you doing? Wasting time. Now, let me share with you in my new book, You Can Achieve More. I have mentioned a survey which said 85% of millionaires and billionaires today are first generation. I repeat, 85% of millionaires and billionaires today are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. Now, they were asked in the survey, how did you achieve so much success financially in such a short time? And their answer was, we read books. How many books? And their answer was, we read 50 books a year. You know, 50 books means 1 book a week. 1 book a week. Multi-millionaires and billionaires read 1 book a week. Warren Buffett reads a book. Bill Gates reads a book. These people said we read 1 book a week. Imagine they take out the time to read 1 book, and they were asked, what kind of books do you read? And their answer was, we only read self-help books, only self-help. We don't read fiction. Why? Fiction is fiction, is fiction, is fiction, will remain fiction. But from a self-help book, 1 good idea is worth $1 million. 1 good idea is worth $1 million. And they read 1 book a week. You know what that means? It means there is a tremendous connection between learning and earning, and learning and earning, and learning and earning, and learning and earning. You learn and you earn, and you learn and you earn. But you know something? I was an avid reader myself at one time. I used to read 30, 40 books a year. But in between a few years, I dropped this habit. But every day, even today, I spend 2 hours in my education every day, currently also. 2 hours per day, watching some good video or something of that nature. But I went to my office the other day, I was cleaning up, and I found, Sahil, it was surprising to me also. In my library, sir, I have 250,000 books in my library alone.
Wow.
More than many libraries have it. But then what I found is, I found many books I had read half, I left them, half read. I pulled out all those books and I brought it and I started rereading again my books. And one night I was reading till morning 6 o'clock. I couldn't get up till 2 o'clock, but well with it, it doesn't matter. I kept sleeping till 2 o'clock, but then I did not waste my time only watching TV. But now you will find one thing, and that is that a serious reader will never borrow or lend a book. I repeat, a serious reader will never ever borrow books or lend books. Why is that? Many times people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great book. I can give it to you, or sorry, lend it to you. I said, no, no, no. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? Because I will not return it back to you. I will not give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always mark it, underline it with a pencil, marker, and I do something right there. I make my notes on there. Why? Because I learned one thing, that reading a good book once is never good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. I repeat, this is so important. When you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. But these are multimillionaires who read one book a week. But you know something? There are people who are not going to get anywhere. They will always make excuses. One, they say, I don't have the time. Two, or I don't have the money to buy books. You know something? They can go to any library and get any book in the world for free. Every book is available for free today. But these people will never do it. Folks, my biggest contention is there is a big connection between learning and earning. Convert your wasted time into productive time. Okay, step four. Step four. To overcome this crisis, I get phone calls from people asking me questions. They think I have the answers. Really, I don't have all the answers, but anyway, they think I do. But I got a call the other day saying, Mr. Khera, I'm very bored. I am very bored. I'm feeling depressed. What do I do? Now, I didn't say this to them, but my answer here is, I learned one thing in my life, Sahil, only boring people are bored. Remember this. Only boring people are bored. This is the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the pleasure of being alone. I enjoy my company. How can I get bored? If you're getting bored, that means there's something wrong with you. And they say, I feel depressed. Now, what is the best way to overcome depression? Here is the answer. A world-famous psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Carl Menninger. Menninger Clinic is today the last word in the US on psychiatry. He was asked, Dr. Menninger, if you knew for sure, guaranteed, that one of your patients was coming up with an attack of depression, what treatment would you prescribe? They were hoping he would write a prescription. Here is the answer Dr. Menninger gave. Dr. Menninger said, if I knew for sure that one of my patients was coming up with an attack of depression, I will tell them, go home, lock yourself out, go to the other side of town, look for somebody who is in trouble, who needs your help. Just help them and your depression will go away. Look at this. He said, go help somebody in trouble and your depression will go away. You know why? He said, people who are busy in helping others, they don't have the time to get depressed. It is a disease of the rich. It is a disease of the rich. Poor people are so busy earning, making a living, they have no time to get depressed. This is Dr. Menninger said, the world famous psychiatrist. I work with the Rotaries and the Lions and the Round Table. We do fundraising for them. And they are so busy organizing blood camp, eye camps, or polio eradication. They are all positive people. I don't see any depression. So go do something for others, find somebody in trouble, help them, your depression will go away. Next step, number 5. Folks, to overcome depression, the crisis, stress, is build positive relationships. I repeat, build positive relationships. This is your support group in life. This is your support group. Your friends, relatives. Remember one thing in life. People who have good relationships in life, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, people who have good relationships in life, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And how stupid are we? We don't understand the meaning of relationships. Relationship personally and professionally. Who are the most important people in your life? Our family.